It is Matthew Schwab, who's CEO and director of Kraken Energy. You guys have seen them on the program a couple of times. It's one that we like in the uranium sector. We wanted to have you back on because you guys had some news with respect to one of your projects. I believe it's 𝘎𝑃𝑒𝑠 uranium project in Nevada. Give us the scoop on what's going on there.
Okay. Yeah, so 𝘎𝑃𝑒𝑠 is the most recent acquisition and addition to Kraken Energy's exploration portfolio. And it's really just another step in the right direction for our plans to build out an economically feasible hub and spoke mining model for uranium in the US. And it really fits our company's exploration model quite well. It is a bit earlier stage than Apex and Garfield Hills, but being a past producer in the early 60s, it had an average production grade of 0.24% U3O8. It's got great infrastructure. It has year-round accessibility. And on top of that, just to the east of our property is the historic Mountain West property, which has a historical resource of 1.1 million pounds U3O8 at 0.15%. So we're going to approach this property with the same exploration strategy as we did at Apex and Garfield Hills. We're going to start out with cost-effective UAV magnetic and radiometric surveys, soil sampling, and then work towards building out a further exploration plan based on the initial results. A few more highlights. There were trench samples that came off the property, 4.5 meters each, that averaged 0.15 and 0.102% U3O8 back in 2007. And it's a decent land package at just over 1,000 hectares. So we're just really excited to get out the property and add more value to our company.
Talk about how great these projects may have been in the past and how that really compares to what you're seeing in the market. Are these pretty good grades for uranium, and is that why you're so excited about it?
Worldwide, these are definitely good grades. You know, like there's economically feasible mines in the world that operate at 0.02%. So anything at 0.1 to 0.2% or above is fantastic for North America. Especially with the deposits that we're looking at and the projects that we're looking at being near or at surface. This is definitely an economically feasible model that we're chasing.
And one of the things we're really interested in the gold, silver pros, because I went through Snowmageddon, we have no food, electricity, and I thought, you know what? The best thing for baseload power is not all these windmills and solar power that have failed, or even natural gas, which froze up. The thing that kept us going was Comanche Peak and all these nuclear facilities that we have, and that's uranium. And so our governor has come out and said, yeah, that's not going to happen again. We're going to increase our investment in uranium and in the nuclear sector. And I think I'd have to say, Matthew, with what's going on around the world in energy security, it sure seems to me that people are turning back to nuclear and uranium. Is that your thought as well?
Absolutely. And, you know, it's part of the whole green movement that we're seeing kind of worldwide. Efforts to decrease carbon emissions. Countries are stepping away from coal and from natural gas where they can and trying to embrace new alternative energy sources. And uranium is really the most feasible one. It just makes the most sense across the board.
And the projects that you have, I do believe the last time that uranium was really mined in the United States and in this state, you guys have one of those projects, right? So you have in your inventory projects which have been mined. And if the United States wants to get back to some level of energy independence, I would assume that the projects that you have will be a big part of that.
Absolutely. Actually, all three of our properties, Apex, Garfield Hills, and 𝘎𝑃𝑒𝑠 Hills, all three of them were past producers in Nevada back in the late 50s and early 60s. Definitely. What they're looking at, the U.S. government, for adding that money, that incentive money to companies like ours, is they want a little bit more of an advanced stage project. But that's why we're staking up these properties, adding new acquisitions to the company so that we can move them along concurrently, kind of all at the same time, and get as many to that feasibility stage as possible to take advantage of that and really jump on board with the rest of the companies doing that right now.
Yeah, and for those of you getting involved in the mining stocks, feasibility studies are the bankable things that you look at and say, okay, this is feasible, this is what we think we can make out of it. You get a model, and then everybody looks at it and says, okay, we have an idea of, you know, your costs and what you're going to make out of it. So definitely great when you guys get it to that stage. For now, when people are interested, because you do have historic properties that do have really good grades and you guys are moving these forward at a time at which it looks like the world really needs nuclear base power and needs uranium.